Hey, what's up guys, it's Yeti here. In today's video, I will be teaching you guys how to win more rounds on attack. I see most new players struggling on attack, which makes sense because most maps are defender sided, so you shouldn't expect to take too many rounds attacking, especially against equally skilled opponents. Anyways, let's get into top 5 tips to win more attack rounds. Tip number 1, abusing Peeker's advantage. Valorant did promise to have some sort of netcode that makes Peeker's advantage much smaller, but right now during the beta phase, it's still very much similar to other FPS titles, which means you should peek those angles because you'll have an advantage, and even if you end up dying, you can consider yourself being an information Ivan, as big streamers call it nowadays. To give a small description of what Peeker's advantage is, it basically prefers the player who is running first into an angle and checking it because the netcode cannot keep up with him, and the player that is defending gets the information a little bit slower. So if you have a very fast reaction time, this will win you a lot of duels. Tip number 2, picking the right characters. If your team has, for example, no Phoenix, Raze or Jett, it's going to be very hard to get those aggressive picks. I would also recommend you to have some sort of smokes on your team because running on a site without a wall or a smoke won't be easy. I would also recommend you to encourage your teammates to pick characters like Sage and Cypher, since they're currently one of the best supportive operators that can heal you or protect your flank while you go in and try to get those picks. Tip number 3, rushing in without trying to get picks or map control. I hear this way too often in my games, especially from people who played Counter-Strike before, who should be aware of this being the wrong call. You can't just pick a site and rush it without a more specific plan or getting some sort of map controls. Valorant is full of choke points where you will lose players every time unless you have a well executed approach. I would only recommend you to do rushes on stuff like pistol rounds or eco rounds, especially at times when the enemy team has no utility. Tip number 4, not focusing on weak links. If the enemy team has, for example, no information agents on a side of Heaven map, you should keep abusing that point until they make some sort of change in their setup. Or for example, if the enemy team is over-rotating instantly, send one guy to A site and make him spam his utility over there while the rest of your team takes B site, because they're all gonna rotate really fast. This will obviously change because people don't keep playing the same site with the same agent. And now tip number 5, probably one of the most important ones, bad crosshair placement. Crosshair placement is a skill every Counter-Strike player already knows, but for those of you who are new to a tactical shooter, it might take some practice. What crosshair placement means is that you place your crosshair where the enemy could always be or come from at head level. This is very important because instead of relying purely on your reflexes and muscle memory, you now simply must click or shoot as soon as the enemy appears, and this will give you a competitive edge. I'm currently working on a longer, more in-depth video on how to improve your aim and more specifically crosshair placement, so please stay tuned for that. Alright though, thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to see more Valorant content and guides, make sure to press the subscribe button with the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Later.
So I get higher. Was shot in 10 top, never see me again when I